If you are a young guy, you are at the very bottom of the barrel. When you get to be my age, then you're going to be at the top. What is the thing that makes a man attractive? His position. His position and his place in the world, his success in the world. It's not money. Foolish guys confuse it with money. No, no, no. It's not money. Money is merely a signifier of the social position of the man. I mean, he's got a lot of money. That means that he's got a strong social position. The hottest a woman will ever be is in her early 20s, right? And the most attractive a man will be in his 40s. So if there are no rules in the sexual marketplace, you should see a lot of guys who are at their peak, at their 40s, who are doing very well, attracting 20-year-old girls, 21, 22-year-old girls. Do you see that? Yes, you do. You do it all. See it all the time. Look at Instagram. Instagram is basically the repository of all the pictures of these very hot girls hanging out with these very hot guys. Hot guys in the sense that they are sexually attractive to women. They might not be physically attractive. They might not be like a male model. But they've got what women want, which is the important thing. See? What women want, what they find sexy, what attracts them sexually, is position, social position. And see, so since there are two different peaks, these two peaks, they congregate. It sort of like explains why girls begin to panic when they hit 30. Yeah, that's the famous wall. But it's not really a wall, it's more like the woman starts to realize that she is no longer as hot as she used to be. The point. In the past, there was a lot of societal pressure for you to pair up. Both you if you were a man and you if you were a woman. There was a lot of societal pressure to pair up and make a family. Settle down, but settle down early. And it's only recently where that pressure is gone. Parents are not forcing their kids or encouraging their kids or pressuring their kids to get married. On the contrary, in a lot of the Western democracies, they're encouraging them to fool around and keep on being a child as opposed to form a family. And so a lot of people do that. A lot of people just keep on fucking around, men and women, until they hit their 30s. And then all of a sudden they decide to settle down because the women start to freak out. And the men, what's happened to the men when they're in their early 30s, right? When all of a sudden the women start freaking out. The women start to freak out and want a relationship. And what do the men do? They settle because they don't realize that their best years are ahead of them. The women who are like in their early 30s, when they're hitting the wall, when they're realizing they no longer are as attractive as they used to be, they go and get a guy. And the guy who's in his early 30s and has behind him decades, plural, of just loneliness and not being very successful with girls. And all of a sudden, he's easing into his 30s, and these girls are going after him. These girls who are 30, 32, 34, 36, and they want him, they want to lock him down. What does he do? He says, oh man, great, yeah, finally, I'm gonna marry some girl. Yay, yay, finally, I'm found a girl and I'll settle down and be happy. And they settle down with the first 30-something woman who locks them down. Oh man, and what a fucking mistake. Yeah, because the guy who's like 34, 35, right? Who's starting to ease into the peak of his sexual attractiveness, right? What happens? He's bumbling around not realizing that the peak is ahead of him. And some girl who's coming off her peak, who's on that downward slide, latches on to him. That's what happens. She's on her downward slide. She's had all the cock that you could possibly imagine. From ages of 21 to 32, she's been in every kind of just sexual escapade, right? And she's 32 and she realizes that she's losing it, and she sees you who are 32, 35, who are just inching towards your peak, but not realizing it, right? She latches on to you. She puts a ring on your finger. And you, like a fucking idiot, are like, oh, okay, I'll do it, you know? Because, of course, because of the drought you had in your past. Women peak early in their sexual attractiveness, and men, you, peak late. And so what do you do if you peak late? Well, you don't put yourself in a position where you can get locked down against your will. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, because do you really want to be married at 34, you know, after this huge sexual drought, just as sexual opportunities are coming your way? Do you want to get locked down by some girl who's fucked God knows how much cock? Do you want to get locked down with such a slut? Do you want such a slut to be the mother of your children? Is that how it is? I mean, are you into cuckoldry or some shit like that? Come on. When you're young, in your 20s and teens, you're not going to get anything. Or whatever you're getting, good as you may think it may be, well, believe me, it's going to be about 10 times better when you're in your 40s. At least 10 times better, okay? I mean, because I know this shit, because I've seen it now. I can see it clearly. Retrospectively, it's so fucking obvious. Number one, nobody was around to tell me this. Nobody was around to tell me this is how it is, okay? And number two, I was still under the illusions, the romantic illusions, that you can find love and you can find the one and you'll live happily ever after. These romantic illusions that, in the reality of this deregulated sexual marketplace, are just foolish, or just absurd and ridiculous. Because they're just, it's not only that they're not true, they are destructive. They go against your best interests. Where are you in terms of age? And where are you in terms of your career? Your business, whatever earns you a living, right? You got to figure out those two elements, and that's when you can see where you are in the scale of your sexual attractiveness. You're working your ass off and you're lonely. You're lonely and isolated because you're just focused all on your work. Now, of course, this isolation is going to lead you to feel depressed. You're going to feel depressed because you're going to be thinking to yourself that it's never going to get any better. But if you realize at 27 that the peak of your sexual attractiveness will be at 45, that's 18 years later, 18 years in the future, if you realize this and internalize it, you can say to yourself, well, you know, I'm lonely now, but fuck it, I'll have plenty of company later. So right now, I'll just ignore my loneliness and focus on my career, my business, my prospects, which is the healthy thing. That's what you should be doing. Now, of course, it's annoying and upsetting to be 27 and have a very good relationship with your right hand and nothing else. Yeah, of course you want to have a woman around, right? But what's important is that if you understand that in the future, all these sexual opportunities will come your way just as a function of your age, then you're not going to be so desperate. And more to the point, you're not going to make bad decisions. Because a lot of guys, out of loneliness, out of this misery, crushing misery, wind up hooking up with the wrong fucking women. Yeah, because what's your best interest? What do you want out of life? Huh? Well, it's very simple. If you're a man, you want to be successful in your career, establish yourself in your business, your career, your social milieu. You want to have some healthy children, you know, 3, 4, the more the merrier. And you want a young woman because you can have, number one, lots of kids with her because she's young, she's got the time to have them. And number two, she will be energetic enough to take care of those kids. You know, a woman in her 30s does not have the energy of a woman in her 20s. I've seen it firsthand, okay? So I know whereof I speak. So why are you going to lock yourself down with some slut who's fast approaching the wall, who tries to lock you down at 30, 32, 35, when the best years of your life are ahead of you?